Hello there, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by for your daily Reiki micro session. This is a micro session because it is only 5 minutes long, where a regular session with me does last for an hour. So, this gives you a chance to just get a tiny little snippet of Reiki to get yourself exposed to it, see what it's all about. If you would like to have a longer session, all you have to do is reach me at the contact information listed on my website, which is in the description box below. After we do 5 minutes of Reiki, then we're going to do 5 minutes of questions where I'm going to pull out a tarot deck and use my psychic abilities and give you the best answer possible for whatever is on your heart or on your mind. But for right now, we are going to focus on the Reiki. And so, Reiki is good for so many wonderful things. Most people that know about Reiki know it for being good to help with healing physical bodily stuff. Um, but it's also good for healing emotional and mental stuff, let's just say, and it's good for healing relationships and finances. So there's, like I said, a lot of great things that Reiki can be used for. I'm going to set the intention today for everybody who watches this video that the Reiki will do whatever it is that you most need in your life. If you have something more specific that you want to have the Reiki focus on, feel free to go ahead and adjust that intention for yourself. Now, let's go ahead and get this Reiki started. All right, so we're starting Reiki at 5 after the hour. That means Reiki will be finishing up at 10 after. If anybody has questions about Reiki, I'm happy to answer those questions. I am a Yusui Reiki master, so I'm qualified to answer those questions. So go ahead and throw them out there if you have them. Always happy to pass along information and help people understand more about what Reiki is, what Reiki can be used for. Socialista. Oh my goodness, right? And you caught me at more or less the beginning of the video instead of the end. Look at you. I am fantastic, my dear. How are you? Gracie G, welcome, welcome. Glad you made it as well. Glad you're in the room. Thank you for the thumbs up. I'm assuming that first one came from you, Socialista. I know I'm going to see another one here from you, Gracie. Thank you also for sharing this video with others who may find it beneficial as well, especially the Reiki. The Reiki can help anybody. I haven't met anybody that hasn't had a need for Reiki yet. Hello, hello, Ms. Rena. Glad you're in the room. La da da da. If anybody has questions about Reiki, this is a great time to ask those questions. Yours is number 2. Okay, well, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. La da 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 da. Someone got a phone call because Gracie or Socialista is not here anymore. "5 p.m. That's a nice time to start winding down, isn't it? It is 11:08 Central Time here in the US. Give me about another week and I'll be broadcasting from Mountain Time. Gracie Greasy. Must be Socialista with the call, and she was so happy to be here. Early. Raining cold wind where you are? Ugh. Ugh. Time to put some wood in the fireplace, right? One more minute of Reiki. Excuse me. All right, that's 5 minutes of Reiki. Let's wrap that up. I'm sure you ladies have some questions for me. I'm going to go ahead and set the timer in case anybody else comes in and we run out of time on questions, but throw them right up there. Throw them up in the chat. Let's see what we can do with 5 minutes and a deck of cards. What can we do with 5 minutes and a deck of cards? You're quite welcome, Ms. Rena. Oh, and that reminds me. Super chats. Always appreciated. Never required. Of this month, will Rena find a new job by the 31st of this month? Welcome back, Socialista. All right. Da 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 da. Will you? Will you? Will you? Will you? I'm not going to say by the 31st of this month, but I do think somewhere around the turn of the month you will find a new one. So probably early on in April, possibly end of March, but I'm going to say probably more like early on in April. What I see on the table is you being very dedicated to looking for that new job. Right now, your sense of security is more or less turned on its head. I feel like this talks about collaborating with somebody, but the energy that it was showing at me, like normally I would say, yeah, this is you're finding a job, but I feel like this is more like a gig or, something you're doing on the side, or, maybe this is like maybe you have an ad up to clean houses until you find the job that you really want. And somebody calls you up and said, I could really use some help with cleaning my house, something like that. Something that's just temporary fill-in type of work is what that feels like to me. Then we get the stag, and this could very easily be a card that talks about a boss. So the boss card is followed by the challenge card. So to me, I feel like you're meeting somebody who will eventually be your boss before we get to the end of the month. But I think you have the challenge of getting through the process and the interviews still. And I think that you're still working through that process once we're at the end of the month. So I'm not sure that you're actually at work by then. Okay. Hope that makes sense for you. Alrighty, so next question. We've got a deck of cards and the remainder of 5 minutes. What can we do with it? So far, we've only had one question. Let's see what the other questions are. How's the move going? Oh, that's not for me to look at with the cards. It's going good, actually. It's made me clean up some stuff. I went to get some maintenance done on my car that I thought was going to be $500 or $600, and I found out it was going to be more like, what'd they say, $1,250? Plus, I already know I have to get over $1,000 worth of work done when I get to the other end of the line. And I was just like, maybe it's time to trade this car in. So I upgraded my vehicle. I get to go pick up my new to me vehicle later on today. How old is she? She's like teenager or young 20s, isn't she? Any more questions? questions for me to look at? I know there has to be. I've only answered one question and there's 5 people in the room. The timer hasn't gone off yet. You can still slide in a question. Welcome back, social. You're quite welcome, Rena. Linda, here we go. Here's a question. Working with my dog. Will she heal to the point she can walk with other dogs? Woot woot. Usama, hello, hello. Welcome. Glad to see you in the room. Do you have a question for me before my timer goes off, honey? Will Linda's dog heal to the point that she can walk with other dogs? What are you doing with her leg? Are you doing Reiki? I don't see her healing to the point that she can walk with other dogs. Not the way the energy is sitting right now. But of course, free will is involved, so there may be something that you could change there to make that more possible. Not sure if there is or not. If you want to get an actual 1-question reading or a 2-question reading, you can find out how to do that on my website to look into best advice for you around that. Excuse me. If you want to, that's totally up to you. And of course, I also do live readings if you want a longer reading. Yeah, I don't see her getting to the point that she can walk with other dogs. I'll say that much for sure. Okay, so Shalisa and Usama, I'm going to answer you guys' questions. Anybody after that is out of luck because that was my timer. Normally I don't answer after the timer goes off, but let's do this. And just a quick reminder, super chats are always appreciated. Never required, but always appreciated. What does Spirit need me to know? Socialista. Socialista. Okay, so what Spirit needs you to know is that right now you're in some type of relationship or situation with somebody where you are giving so much to them that you're taking away from your own peacefulness. It's interfering with you having peace within yourself. Okay? So, best advice for you in this situation. Hello, Elise. Welcome. Best advice is reevaluate the situation. Reevaluate whether this person is actually a friend to you or not a friend to you. Because it looks to me like you're putting out a whole lot of energy and effort for them and they're not sending anything back. I mean, I've got my generosity card and it's reversed. This is like blocked. So this basically means this person is taken for granted that you're going to keep giving and keep giving and keep giving and keep giving to them. They're not trying to return the favor to you. They're just sucking you dry. So you want to reevaluate that friendship and determine, is that really a true friendship for you or not? Okay. So that's what Spirit needs you to know. Usama. I hope I'm saying your name right, honey. I'm not sure. I've never seen a name that's spelled like that before, so I hope that's correct. Will you manage to complete your end of studies project? All right. So, Usama, let's do a little coaching before we do a little tarot reading, okay? Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Half the battle with a project is our mindset. And a lot of times what impacts our mindset is something that's going on in our subconscious mind that we may not even really realize or have a finger on. So what I'm going to say to you before I even look at the cards, I'm going to say the best thing that you can do to help yourself with this is start imagining how you're going to feel once this project is complete and you're hearing from instructors or whoever you're hearing from about how good it is, whether this is, whether you have to defend this or whatever this is for you. I want you to imagine how you would feel and what that would sound like if somebody who is evaluating this just tells you that it's absolutely wonderful, and start imagining that for yourself every single day if you can. Okay? So Just spend just a little time. You don't need a lot of time, just a little time imagining those feelings and letting yourself sort of roll around in those feelings, because that's going to retrain whatever's going on in your subconscious to actually help you to do what you are reaching to do. Okay. Now, let's look at your cards and see, will you manage to complete the end of studies project? Let's see, two more cards. Okay, first card says you have all the tools you need to do that. All right. So, in other words, pay attention to what I just told you. That is a very valuable tool. You are empowered. You're able to complete it. Here's the thing, you're not feeling very hopeful, just like you told me. You're not feeling very inspired about this. You have no energy that you really want to throw into this. So, you know, you're going to have to find a way to get excited about this again so that you can move forward. Otherwise, you're just going to sit on the couch eating Cheetos and wishing you were working on it and kicking yourself because you're not. All right. So here's the other thing. Ask Spirit to help you with this. You know, whether you pray to God, whether your God is Allah, it doesn't matter. Ask the divine to help you with this. Right now, what Spirit's telling me is you haven't been asking for help from the supernatural. The supernatural would be thrilled to help you, but you haven't been asking for help. And I'll tell you something, sometimes I get up and I just ask God to help me to have a good attitude. Because seriously, attitude is everything. And so, you know, maybe that's where you start. Maybe you start with, help me to have a good attitude about this so that I can get through it, so that I can make this happen and complete this task. Okay. And right now, because you're not actually asking Spirit for help, look what we have here. The shaman in reverse. This is my master manifester, but he's manifesting exactly what he's afraid of. So we're always manifesting something. We're either manifesting what we're hoping for or we're manifesting what we're afraid of, wherever we're putting our energy. It's just like the feeding two wolves story. So if we're feeding our fears and focusing on our fears, the fears being that, well, I'm not going to be able to accomplish this, then guess what? That's what you're manifesting. And that's what this shows where your energy is right now, that you're not manifesting what you want. You're manifesting your fear. So you got to switch this. You got to start focusing on, like I said, start envisioning, hey, how would that feel if everybody told me what a wonderful, you know, all the people who evaluated it told me what a wonderful end of studies thing I did. Okay, so you got to switch it around, because right now you're manifesting in the opposite direction of what you want to go. You've got to switch that. Okay. And this is interesting. I've never had this come up on this card before, but what Spirit is telling me is that they're just waiting on you. They're just waiting on you to call on them. They can't do anything until you call on them, because Spirit is polite. They give us free will. So because Spirit's polite and giving us free will, they're not going to just barge in and say, oh, we're just going to make sure that Isama gets it. Okay? They're going to say, well, does he want our help? So how do you call? Good question. So do you have, okay, tell me about your relationship with the divine. Do you have spirit guides? Do you have a God? Do you have somebody who's crossed over that you talk to that's in spirit, like your parents? Who do you talk to that's in spirit? Do you talk to anybody who's in spirit? Let's start there. Let's start there, Usama. Okay. So here's the thing. For God to hear us, we don't have to talk out loud. We can think our thoughts towards God. Just like I'm talking to you with my mouth right now, you can think to God. Or you can say it out loud. Excuse me, didn't mean to bump the mic. You can say it out loud. Now, I grew up with a very formal relationship with God. I've thought that to pray, I had to be in church and I had to have, you know, I had to say certain prayers. I had to say the Rosary or the Apostles' Creed or whatever. But as I came out and got on my own more and started looking into my relationship with God more and started going to different churches and exploring what other people thought about God, what I found is that I ended up in a much less formal relationship with God. And so for me, God is daddy. He's my divine daddy. Um, I call him Lord. I call him God. I call him Father. But I just ask him for whatever it is that I need help with. and I thank him. I try to thank him ahead of time even. But if you ask God for help, he'll help you. He'll help you. You know, God did not put us on this planet to fail, Lusama. That's not why we're here, you know? And I just don't see him as being that mean God upstairs with a fly swatter waiting to swat us down when we do good. I don't see that. He didn't put us here for that. He's not a mean God. He wants well for us. And yes, I say he. I know both genders are involved in God, but I think he sounds more personal than it. Not going to call God it. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed to Sema, please do so. That way you'll be notified whenever I go live. And I would love to have you show up in the room and be a participant again. Anytime you want, baby. All right, so let's see. Socialista had a question I was going to answer too. Let me scroll back up there and find that. Let's see. La, da, da, da. What were you thinking about answering? Okay, so I did answer the general one. What were you thinking about asking about your sister's death? Like circumstances of the death? Like was it foul play or something, a question like that? La, da, da, da. I know, Rena. That's what I love about my I was gonna say my job, but it doesn't feel like a job. It feels fun. That's what I love about my position in life, is that by helping other people, I learn too. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Yay. So, the other thing that I would visualize, Usama, if you are, whenever you're doing your visualization, also visualize getting paid for your work and what that would feel like. Figure out what you should be paid for that, what you feel like you should be paid for that, and start imagining somebody handing you a check for that or handing you the cash for that or depositing it into your account and how you would feel about that. And think about some of the things that you would spend that money on and how you would feel spending that money, and just allow yourself, once again, get into those feelings, roll around in those feelings, because it seems to me like you've got something going on in your subconscious that talks about that you have to really work hard to get paid and that people don't always pay you fairly for what you do. And so you have to combat that. And when you combat that, it's not by going in and digging up those old feelings, because that just entrenches them that much more, because you're just digging bigger ditches where those feelings are. But you combat that by coming up with new pathways in the subconscious that allow you to think about success and allow you to think about the idea that people pay you fairly for the services that you offer to the world. And if you can imagine being paid fairly for the input that you are making, and imagine what that feels like, allow yourself to feel what that would feel like, then you plant that in your subconscious, which helps your vibration to change to one that is more of that happening, which draws it to you. And I know that's a lot of information in a couple of sentences there, but definitely that's what you want to do. And if you want to get some coaching or some help with affirmations or something like that, I don't actually have that advertised on my website, but if you want to do a session with me to help you with that, I would be happy to. All right. So that's that, everybody. I think I've done everything that I came here to do today. Thank you guys for sharing so much of your precious time with me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the thumbs ups on this video. Thank you for sharing it with others who may find benefit as well. And of course, thank you to those of you who are ordering private sessions, whether they're Reiki, readings, coaching, whatever. I do appreciate that. It is because of all of you guys' support of me that I get to do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Everybody have a fantastic day. And if I don't see you back here for a private, then I will see you again on the next video. Peace out.